Hi, dear Astro family. Today we are going to be looking at what is happening on the sky in November. We've got a busy month, so stay tuned till the very end because we are going to be probably spending the next 1 hour together. So November is quite busy, but before we do that, I just wanted to show you a couple of things. I managed to add payment methods for my website. So if you go on the readings, then I've got appointments from pretty much the middle of November onwards. And I've got some nice courses coming up that you might want to be able to take advantage of. And one of them is going to be about the positive meaning of Saturn. We're going to be looking at only the positives because Saturn is a good friend when we use it well. We're going to be looking at Jupiter and its evil side because Jupiter can be quite a difficult one as well. If that is one of your strongest planets, we need to be able to be aware of the negative meanings of Jupiter too. I'm going to be holding a course on sexology. Now, this is going to be a 10-week course. And we're going to be looking at the houses of sex, Mars as our sex drive, Venus as our sexual needs. We're going to be looking at sexual connections in synastry. We're going to be looking at that in the birth chart as well. And on top of that, we're going to talk about sexual abuse, sex addiction, sex workers chart as well. Astrological indication of love triangles, such as being cheated on, and so on. And we're even going to be looking at asteroids of sexuality also. So it's going to be minimum 10 weeks. It might be a little bit longer than that. I might be adding 2 or 3 classes extra to it because I want to break down Mars as your sex drive and Venus as your sexual needs a lot more in depth, such as in signs and houses as well. So I'm considering doing that for you. And the other course, which might be in interest of yours, is the art of synastry. So I'm going to be teaching how to actually work efficiently together with synastry. And on top of that, we even gonna be entering a Uranian season. I'm going to be looking at the outcasted and psychological complexes of this planet. Now that's the self-advertisement part. So I hope to see you on those classes. And now let's get going with November. So I'm just going to be taking the time clock there, so you will be able to follow me. Some of you requested that sometimes it's nice to see what we are talking about, even though I believe you can pull up yourself a chart and then you can follow me through because I'm giving you the dates and the degrees anyway. But no problem, I could be showing you what is happening. So firstly, let me just give you a little bit of a breakdown of the month. So we're gonna have the major topics. We're gonna have a new moon happening on a 9 degree of Scorpio. And on the very same day, we're gonna have Jupiter sextile Chiron as well. Mercury will enter Sagittarius in November on the 2nd of November. Mars will also change sign as well on the 4th. It's going to move into the sign of Leo. Surely I will be doing a separate video about that. And Venus will be entering the sign of Capricorn also. Now, most of the planets are retrograde, actually. As you can see, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Uranus, Jupiter, Mars is already in its shadow period. So only Mercury and Venus are pretty much who are not retrograde. Pluto is still in its shadow period. But Saturn is going to be stationing direct on 12 degree of Pisces on the 15th of November. And then Pluto will be going back into the sign of Aquarius. Sun will enter the sign of Sagittarius on the 21st of November. But this month, Mercury is also going retrograde, stations retrograde on 22 degrees Sagittarius on the 26th of November. So we're going to be talking about some of these aspects. There are some other aspects going on as well. But so as I mentioned, the beginning of the month, almost all planets are retrograde. Saturn is going to be going direct but then Mercury is going to be going retrograde instead. And the other big change is, of course, Pluto re-enters the sign of Aquarius forever, I mean, not forever, but for a very long time. So we have got this new moon happening in the sign of Scorpio. We're going to start the month with that on the 1st of November. And actually, you will be able to see that it is actually making a trine to Saturn. So it really, and we have got pretty much um, a Mercury sextile Pluto as well on the very same day. So we've got a quite a nice mini grand trine pretty much going on here. So what this could be indicating? Well, first of all, the Mars and Pluto opposition is there. So it really feels like that this lunation is telling us, because that's the dispositor, Mars or Pluto are the dispositor of this lunation. It's going to be very important somehow to temper our anger and frustration. That Scorpio could be preparing for a revenge, for example, and on top of that, I also would like to mention that Venus is in opposition to Jupiter as well. So, which is a square to Saturn. So we've got a T square going on. This is a challenging kind of chart, to be frank. And it feels to me that this lunation wants us to pay attention how we manipulate others, how we use our power, how much we want to go through that emotional transformation in our life. And this is a hypersensitive energy, and it can be affecting our relationships with others. It can trigger a lot of power struggles with others, with authority figures, with our partners, and so forth. So it's kind of like walking on eggshells, actually. It really kind of tells us that maybe we need to be exploring our psychological complexes, our behaviors, knowing where it is rooted from. And the good thing is that actually Saturn is in the picture because it's trying to calm us down. It's kind of trying us to use common sense to stabilize all these anger, frustration, and so forth. What is going on at the moment in this chart? This Saturn tells us, you know what, think it through with a clear head. But the question is Saturn enough? Right? Because Mars and Pluto opposition, Jupiter and Venus opposition, and on top of that, we've got that Mercury and Pluto sextile, while Pluto is being trined by Uranus, so therefore Mercury is opposing that Uranus. I'm not too sure, to be frank, I'm not too sure if Saturn is enough. I mean, obviously that Mercury, the problem with that Mercury having a dialogue with Pluto and being in the sign of Scorpio, that it's so focused on something. So maybe that we are lacking a bit of an open-mindedness here. That Mercury is really about, you know what, you hurt me, I'm gonna hurt you back. I'm going to find ways, to kind of take a revenge on you. But that's also a truth serum. That's a truth seeker. So this combination is so focused on figuring out what is actually going on within us, with others, and so on. Okay, so why is this popping up here? But I don't even move anything there. And then, of course, this could indicate that your mind is extremely kind of like overburdened, or you are thinking about all these, emotional, intense type of karmic feelings. And then really, while Mars is making that opposition to Pluto, it does make a trine to Neptune as well. So basically, we've got a kite configuration going on, but let me not talk about that at the moment. So Neptune is kind of like trying to dissolve Mars's anger. It's kind of like trying also to calm it down. It's kind of like you are pouring ice bucket on top of someone's head. just to kind of wake them up. The question is that going to wake them up or is that going to be actually pissing them off even more? So this is a double-edged sword, in my opinion, with that Neptune as well. And then Uranus is still kind of like in sextile to Mars in that new moon chart, which is making us a little bit more relentless. It speeds things up. It's speeding the mind up. It's speeding our actions up. So it looks like we are acting out of anger. We are acting out of frustration. So, however, Mercury is about to change sign. And this pretty much tells me that maybe our mind is going to be also shifting and it's going to be a little bit more optimistic. Maybe that Mercury is going to be focusing on looking at the bigger picture, realizing that I don't need to be looking at the negative side of things all the time. Maybe I need to be a little bit more on the optimistic one. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not talking about the Pluto-Mars opposition more in depth. Well, I did make a video about that. I posted it a few days ago, so you might want to be referring back to that. But of course, there is a huge amount of intensity and confrontation coming with that. And it really feels like that something that many of us will be struggling with to kind of calm down our own anger. And because Mars is in Cancer, Cancer represents our feelings. You know what? This is about discovering something. It's about realizing something, that something went down in my family and so forth. And often Cancer just wants to sweep things under the carpet, but Pluto doesn't necessarily allow that this time around. So facing our fears and problems and finding solutions to them, it looks like it's going to be helping you to grow. Venus, Venus is in Sagittarius. It's kind of like a little bit adventurous and it's enjoying life to the fullest. It goes out there and then looks for opportunities and so forth. So Venus is kind of doing okay. It wants to explore many, many things. And this is doubled by having an opposition to Jupiter as well. So this is coming up with travel plans and let's go out and let's explore a new city and so on, and doing too many things at the same time. It's kind of like you want to be in a better mindset. You want to be in a better mood. And maybe that's why we are looking for something that is helping our mood to be lifted up. Jupiter is definitely telling Venus, just yeah, keep going, be optimistic. Just do what you truly want to, just get out there, meet new people, socialize, have fun. That's what we are here for. We don't need to be focusing on the negative. So we can be torn apart around this time. However, Venus is being squared still by Saturn. So this could show that at the same time, we've got certain type of fears to do all those. Because maybe we've got commitments to attend. Maybe we've got responsibilities. Maybe we've got a family, a job, and so forth. And I am making all these travel plans, but Saturn says, no, you cannot go on a holiday. I cannot allow you to do that. Now, let's move a little bit further. I mean, we're going to go on the 2nd of November. I mean, we do have got Jupiter Chiron sextile going on. This is going to be the second time actually they have a sextile, and we're going to be having even one more. So even though um it is pretty exact during the lunation as well. So it really looks like that we are meant to be healing certain type of confidence here. And maybe we have to be able to deal with rejections. The rejection might be a topic. Chiron, Then on top of that, Uranus and the moon are opposing each other as well at the same time. We have to be facing our wounds. But Venus is trining that Chiron. So it feels like that if we are optimistic, if we look at the fun side of things, then it should actually get easier. Then, of course, we've got the 3rd of November, the big day, right? So the Pluto-Mars opposition actually becomes exact. So, but as I mentioned, I did make a video about that. We're gonna be talking about that a little bit more, of course, in the future, because we're gonna have three of them, three oppositions. But the next two are going to be happening in the sign of Leo to Aquarius. However, Mars is moving into the sign of Leo. So we've got a fiery planet in a fiery sign. So this is about building strength. This is about creating drama. This is about, yeah, let's be an entrepreneur. Let's strive for success. Let's be courageous. But also, do not hurt my pride. Do not hurt my ego, because I'm not going to dismantle it for anyone, really. This is about let's have fun. Let me be who I want to be. Let me be the true myself. So Mars, wherever Mars is in your chart, it is kind of like where you can get shit done, basically. But it has to be done in a Leo way. Sometimes we do that in dramatic ways, and sometimes we do that extremely creatively. So getting creative projects done, for example, this could be a very good one. Maybe you are on thinking about, I don't know, organizing a party, a wedding, an engagement, and then you are truly passionate and motivated about it, or maybe you want to be opening a business and then you start the recruitment process and so on. So all those type of activities might become very, very good. Remember, we still have got the Pluto and Mars opposition still going on. It's kind of like separating, but it is still happening there. So there could be still the frustration. Let's say you want to be opening the business, but for some reason it is being kind of like holding you back somehow. You still want to be having the fun, but Pluto in Capricorn says, no, we've got responsibilities that we have to be changing. We're going to do it. We're going to have loads of fun once we have done the changes that I require to kind of to complete. As I said, there will be two more exact Mars and Pluto opposition. One is in 3rd of January 25, and then around the 27th of April 2025. And Mars is going to be stationing direct sometimes in February. So maybe those are going to be a little bit more bad. Now we're going to jump a little bit because we're going to have a full moon also happening on the 15th of November, and it's going to be in the sign of Taurus. And that is happening on 23 of Taurus. So a full moon happens when the sun and the moon are in opposition to each other. And there is an pretty exact conjunction to Uranus. And the sun is actually trining Neptune, sextiles Pluto. But pretty much still, there is an ongoing Saturn square involved as well. Very tight, but we do have that going on. So probably I would kind of mention that too. So how does this full moon pretty much kind of feels like? It looks like that we still kind of like unsure. There is this shake up, there is this wake up call happening, something that is trying to get us out of our comfort zone. There are still a certain type of intense feelings going on. Maybe now what we need to be focusing on is because it's kind of like being nervous somehow. The body is kind of like shocked. Taurus, is the material world. Moon is the body as well. So potentially, maybe Pluto wants us to kind of find very powerful ways of kind of like calming yourself down, because this looks like it's quite a nervous energy here. And maybe that Neptune wants us, yeah, sometimes we need to, I don't know, meditate, imagine things, knowing that we can become very sensitive with that. And then if Pluto is not used well, then those feelings becomes very intense, powerful dreams, powerful visions, and so on. And the body might become a little bit shocked about it. Um, Also, now in the previous lunation, we had the Venus and Jupiter opposition. Now we've got the Mercury and the Jupiter opposition. So we have got a lot of big ideas. We are asking big questions. And obviously, when we are asking big questions, we want big answers too, right? And then the question is, do we get those or not? This is about trying to find meaning, trying to remain optimistic as well, even though, there is this shocking and revolutionary type of feelings that are coming up. Maybe it's about boosting your knowledge, reading up, being a little bit more spiritual. At the same time, we start working on our beliefs. Maybe we start praying as well. We might become even more talkative, chatting a lot. Maybe it's all about expressing your own desires. Maybe you have got a desire to actually share something with others. It's the truth. And remembering that you are your truth is your own truth. Also, this could indicate that there are so many information out there, and I don't know which one to believe. I have no idea how to kind of navigate between them two. So there's an element of a confusion that might be also coming into the picture with this. Now, Saturn is still squaring both of these points, right? So Saturn says, let's just throw the crap away. Let's just prioritize. Let's just focus on all that info so that we don't necessarily get too kind of like confused. This is an important aspect because Mercury will be going retrograde. So this is actually more kind of like a 2-month opposition because they are going to be not too far away from each other. They are going to be, let's say, within orb, using a bigger orb system here though, till the middle of January almost. Um, Now, it might be that, you have got these ideas that you are coming up with, and then you want to be exploring new ones, or maybe someone else is giving you ideas, and then you are ready to actually explore them. But remember, sometimes these two planets, their ideas are not so realistic, not so practical. That's where Saturn comes into the picture and says, make sure that we remain a little bit more on the realistic side with things. I think there is, because the Saturn and the Jupiter square is still at play. So this is telling us, because Jupiter is retrograde now, so it's not moving fast, it's moving backwards actually. So we revisiting certain type of ideas that we have. And maybe it's already signaling to Mercury that we don't need more information. We've got enough. Let's just go back to the initial ideas and information and data. And Saturn also says the same, structure, prioritize, don't accumulate. Let's have very simple conversations, for example. Let's ask direct questions. Um, I also feel like that the next kind of aspect that we maybe want to be exploring a little bit is the Sun and um, Mars trine. And the reason why I would do that is going to be happening on the 27th of November, because that Mars is really about to go retrograde. It's happening on the 6th degree. So the sun is coming here and then actually highlighting things. And look at where the North Node is. It's on 4 degrees. So basically, we've got a grand trine going on here. While actually the sun is still, I mean, it started squaring Saturn, and the sun pretty much, oh, sorry, Mars is still ready to come and make another opposition to Pluto. So, not to mention that Mercury is already retrograde, going back to Jupiter as well. So you can see that this is probably a very important aspect here. So what it really feels to me is that it highlights the actions that we need to be able to take in order for us to grow. It's going to be very important that we focus on actions, but the actions that we are about to take are not necessarily just about pride, but it has got a meaning to it as well. We're talking about the Sun Mars cycle, and it always starts with a conjunction, right? So the conjunction took place in actually Scorpio back in November 2023. So you might want to be going back and then looking at what was going on in your life around that time. So now we have the peak when the sun will be actually highlighting the Aquarius season, and Mars is still there. So where pretty much it is right now. So, but we are getting the opportunity here to take action, to know what needs to be eliminated, what needs to what we need to be walking away from, what's problems we have to find solutions for. And in a way, it says, let's take an action. Let's be productive about it. And Sun is in Sagittarius, so you can pretty much feel like that in a way invincible. You can really feel kind of like optimistic about the actions that you are about to take. You want to go on a adventure, you want to learn something, maybe you want to learn how to be more courageous, for example, and maybe you just want to be seeing the meaning of something, and then you feel enthusiastic about it. Probably you have huge desires. I mean, it's Leo. Leo often wants to be loved, wants to be, in a way, free as well. And that beautiful trine to North Node, what you learn a little bit more about karma. You take action about the road that you want to be. Basically, you take actions to make changes in your life. Of course, if we have got the North Node involved, we have got the South Node involved as well. And the South Node might say that we need to let go of certain type of relationships. We don't need to be compromising anymore. We don't need to always negotiate and trying to make it happen for everyone. It is telling you to tap into your own strength. This is a nice combo. I mean, North Node is ruled by Mars. Mars is ruled by the Sun. The Sun is ruled by Jupiter, which is actually making an opposition to Mercury. So I've already spoken about the Mercury and Jupiter opposition. So keep that in mind. But Saturn is in the picture, so it is squaring the Sun. And I think this is all about being clear who I want to be, being clear about what the future looks like in my own head. This is also probably telling us to put our pride aside, to slow down. We don't need to be running a marathon without any type of training. Know what you're doing. Work hard to achieve your karma, to achieve your plans. It says you can crystallize your vision. It just need a tremendous amount of work. Now, Pluto and Mars are still opposing, right? So I've spoken about that already. And that is intensifying, that is encouraging the fact that you can take action about something. And maybe on one hand, Pluto already wants this independence here. Mars is up for independent. So what you might be fighting for is to leave people behind so you can become truly who you want to be. Remember, Mars will be back. Okay, so you need to remember this topic because this is kind of like, oh, it's a big topic, right? So that's briefly kind of like how I see the upcoming month. Remember that Mercury will be stationing retrograde on the 22-degree on the 26th of, oops, what happened here? On the 26th of November. So these are the topics that it is highlighting. So of course, I showed you the dispositor tree, which is the Sun, Mars, and North Node connected to that Jupiter and Mercury opposition. Um, Now, I'm not going to talk about Pluto enters Aquarius because I feel like we have spoken about that quite a lot. On the 15th of November, now be backtracking a little bit. I know, but I have spoken about Saturn as well quite a lot in this video, but it is stationing direct. And obviously, it's very important to remember that one of the closest aspects is actually Mercury. I've spoken about that. And it is very close, obviously, to the lunation that is happening as well. So this is the reason why I didn't necessarily pick that. Now, there was one other sign change that I kind of forgotten to mention to you, and that's Venus entering Capricorn, which is on the 11th of November. So, but before Venus does that, it's still making a square to Neptune. So we are somehow confused about our vision. We are confused about what the future is holding us. But the confusion most likely is a little bit had once Venus is moving into the sign of Capricorn, where we come up with a plan, where we have an idea of how to solidify things, where we might go back to some tested methods, for example, something that other people have already used. So why am I not trying those ones? I don't need to be reinventing the wheel when it comes to money and love and self-worth and so forth. There are tested methods there that might be working on me too. And also because the last aspect Venus makes here is actually a square to Neptune. And we can be confused about our love life. We can be confused about what is ethical, what not. So you gain clarity here while Venus is in the sign of Capricorn. So guys, this is a shorter version of November. Um, Obviously, if you would like to receive more information on a weekly basis, I tend to be preparing 2-3 hour breakdowns for the 12 signs as well as a general forecast each week. So go ahead, check that out, and I hope to see you there. You can do that on my YouTube family members. So press the join button. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.